You got away with words. Indeed I am. And what a great segue, as we've just seen how somebody over here at the school board is treated. You know, I'm talking about transparency and accountability at this board, and delegates are constantly disrespected and shut down every time. Not only that, but you obviously continue to censor and hide online comments. I've mentioned it before, your YouTube history is removed. You limit parent access to public meetings. You know, permit number 13-116735, I called the fire hall. They have a capacity of 300 people in this room. You got a sign out there you made up, 30 people in the gallery. I suppose it does meet the code because anything less than 300 meets the code. You know, when it comes to child sexuality interests, I think this board spends more time thinking if they could rather than they should. This director and leadership continues upholding the following procedure, labeled AP 1235, and states the following. The student's self-identification is the sole measure of their gender. A school shall not disclose a student's gender status to the student's parents without the student's explicit prior consent. Doing so can potentially put a student's well-being and safety at risk. Students have a right to a safe change room that corresponds to their gender identity. Well, this policy isn't very transparent when you're keeping secrets and driving a wedge between students and their parents, is it? In my October 16th delegation, I covered the sexual grooming process steps. However, today, I have a document called Child Sexual Abuse. It is your business. And this document is from the Canadian Centre of Child Protection. So the Ontario Colleges of Teachers use this material to help teachers understand what sexual abuse is. So because you're not very transparent in this regard, I'm going to talk a little bit about this. According to this document, non-contact sexual abuse includes exposing a child to sexually explicit material and asking sexually intrusive questions or making sexually explicit comments to a child. Signs of sexually abused children include advanced sexual knowledge beyond their level of development, sexualized behavior inconsistent with behavior of children the same age, withdrawn, depressed, decline in school performance, aggressive, self-destructive, and many more. I'm sure you probably have seen this document since you guys are all came out of the Ontario College of Teachers. You know, this is exactly what we're seeing in the schools today. The director admitted to this January 30th, 2023, stating, and I quote, "I have shared information talking about the high rates of depression and suicide among some community groups. But you know what? This is more of a motive because the higher the rates, the more important your job seems. Because these rates have been going up under your leadership." Sexual abuse involves isolating children from parental figures and manipulating the child into becoming cooperating participant, which includes the likelihood of disclosure. Concerning adult behavior is using children to meet their emotional needs, aka affirmation, normalizing or minimizing inappropriate interactions with children, making sexual references, encouraging children to behave sexually towards each other, and making sexual references in the presence of children. If a child is led to be convinced that medical and genital alterations are required to achieve an identity, this is child abuse. I want to talk a little bit to the parents of Waterloo Region because I do agree with the previous delegate. I want to point something out, that on December 11th, these trustees voted against parental rights. These individuals cannot be trusted if they claim they cannot tell the difference between a boy and a girl, and they allow boys to enter the girls' change rooms and washrooms. On October 30th, these trustees voted to allow minors to access explicit sexual content that glorifies sexual behaviors and aims to normalize medical interventions in the minds of vulnerable children. Now, the problem with this content is the content itself is sexual, but because you are able to change the language from anal sex to bummies, suddenly it becomes age appropriate. These are not your kids. I don't know what business you have pushing sexuality onto minors. And let me be very clear. All of these kids in school are minors. And these kids, as early as age 4, can access these books. On October 11th, Waterloo District School Board post openly admits to targeting minors on Instagram, stating, and I quote, "You'll begin to see posts speaking directly to students and a shift away from posts that focus on information speaking to parents, caregivers, and community members." This was followed by a National Coming Out Day post aimed at minors. So why is the Waterloo District School Board spending roughly 30% of the days celebrating sexual preferences, empowerment, and sexual identities with minors, not considering the other days where special clubs, classroom, or school activities encourage sexual celebrations, special guests, and organizations such as OK to Be Me and Get Real Movement are invited, and they offer services ranging from affirmation gear such as breast binders and packers to medical therapy, medication, and referrals to medical centers who perform phalloplasty, mastectomy, vaginoplasty, hysterectomy. And I also have their documents over here in case you guys think I'm joking. So the Waterloo District School Board sets aside the following days to celebrate with minors as early as age 4. International Transgender Day of Visibility, International Asexual Day of Visibility, International Day of Pink, Non-Binary Parents Day, Lesbian Day of Visibility, International Day Against Homophobia, Transphobia and Biphobia, Gender Equality Week, Bisexual Visibility Day, International Lesbian Day, International Pronouns Day, Transparent Day, Transgender Awareness Week, International Day of Transgender Remembrance, an entire 2 months of sexual identity celebrations known as Pride Month and Pride History Month. You know, I've talked about the books over here many times. These books range from pedophilic topic to incest, etc. Nobody bats an eye. You know, the following book that I'm reading from right now is available in nearly all the schools for children between kindergarten to grade 6. Have a listen how the book frames permanent medical interventions with minors that result in sterilization. This is from a book available to minors. This book is available, because I want everybody to be transparent, and I hope the school board is accountable for the kind of material that they put to children. Let me read.
Before you read, what is the name of the book?
I'll tell you after. Questions of clarification are at the end, are they not?
I'm the chair of the board, and I'm asking you, what is the name of the book?
I'll tell you at the end. I'll tell you at the end.
What is the name of the book? Why won't you tell me now?
I'll tell you right after.
What is the name of the book and who is the author?
Questions of clarifications are at the end. Are you above everybody else over here, or do you always interrupt?
I am asking you.
I will.
The book.
Please do not interrupt. I will tell you right after.
Your point has paused. Point of order. Thank you. I don't remember us ever interrupting a delegate in the past, even the past year, and ask, what is the book before you even read a passage? I don't remember that ever happening. I don't know why I don't understand why it just seems like we're just picking and choosing tonight.
Like, not picking and choosing. I'm asking the delegate what the book.
But we've never done that before. I
No, we
don't know, but I don't think it's good practice to start doing that.
Okay, thank you for your input.
Questions of clarification are at the end. If you don't mind, I'm just going to finish.
May
I will answer your question at the end.
No, I would like you to tell us the name of the book and the author before you begin, please.
Tell you at the end.
No, I will stop the delegation.
Why are you stopping the delegation?
I would like you to.
No. Questions of clarification are at the end, and you're not above the law.
I'm not saying I'm above the law. I am the chair of the board, and I'm asking you.
I know you're the chair of the board.
And
I'm going to continue.
No.
And I'll tell you at the end.
No, I'm asking for the name of the book and the author before you begin, please.
The book is called The Other Boy by M.G. Hennessy.
Thank you very much.
Dr. Ann gave him a patient smile. Basically, so far the hormone blockers have prevented Shane from going through female puberty. But once we add testosterone to the mix, he'll develop as a man. His voice will deepen, he'll get an Adam's apple, and more body and facial hair. Okay, that's said slowly. But what happens if he stops taking the shots? That's reversible too, right? Not entirely, Dr. Ann said. I could tell she was choosing her words carefully. Some of the changes will be permanent. Shane would have skipped female puberty, which means he likely won't be able to have children naturally. It's cool, Shane interjected. So this book attempts to normalize and downplay the side effects of medical intervention, which can lead to lifelong psychological and physical ramifications. This book is available to people in kindergarten, to kids in kindergarten to grade 6. Just to put this in perspective. And I believe we're dealing with state-sanctioned child sexual abuse and exploitation that is being promoted and celebrated from the very top levels of government to school unions, school board leadership, and teachers, leaving children confused and vulnerable and in a state of self-destruction. I do urge every parent to participate in their own rescue and protect their children. It's our duty to hold these experts and leaders, in quotation marks, accountable for their actions. Any staff that encourages or exploits children through sexual conversation, grooms them, has relationships with them, urges them on a path of medical identity, sterilizes them from an early age, or celebrates their preferred sexual identity, needs to be removed immediately, and in my opinion, jailed. I want to challenge this director to lead the school board back to focus on academics before more parents remove their children from the Waterloo District School Board and call for his resignation. His focus on sexuality is completely inappropriate and undermines the trust of his leadership and of this board's leadership. The following 8 trustees voted on October 30th and December 11th to allow minors to access sexually explicit books and oppose parent rights. Joanne Weston, Meredith Radlin, Samantha Estiosa, Carla Johnson, Joe Meisner, Scott Pietowski, Mina Wasim, Kathleen Woodcock, and both student trustees. This is our leadership. This is 8-3 every time. So why does this board and leadership have policies, procedures, and guidelines, materials, and practices in place with punishments to silence opposing concerns regarding constant child sexuality focus, and even working together with government-funded organizations to go as far as to celebrate and facilitate medical mutilation and sterilization of children before they have a chance to start a family?
Your time is up. Thank you. Question of clarification? Questions of clarification, Trustee Lawson?
Thank you. I think it was in the middle of your delegation where you talked about documents, that you had documents to prove it. And I was unsure, were you like referencing organizations that provide documents, or what documents were you talking about?
That's correct. The Get Real movement, right over here, they sell gaffs, binders, packers, breast forms, trans tape, stand to pee, which is a urinating device that can, it's basically like a dildo with a hole, so girls can stand up when they pee. These are the kinds of documents that the Get Real movement promotes, or the kind of affirmation gear. And now OK to Be Me also has accessing gender affirming care, what you need to know. And right over here, exactly what you need to know. They have a bunch of procedures like mastectomy, phalloplasty, erectile testicular implant, vaginosectomy, orchiectomy, clitoroplasty, labiaplasty, hysterectomy, vaginoplasty. And all of these things, when these organizations come into the school to talk with the kids, they're pushing the kids down this medical intervention road. And this seems to be the message that the Waterloo District School Board is putting out there. Okay. There's no such difference between boys and girls. Boys can go into the girls' change rooms, and they're okay with that.
Todor.
Thank you for watching. If you appreciate the work that I do, please consider supporting me financially. I'm very happy to speak up for the protection of kids, and if you can't support financially, I would appreciate it if you help me overcome the censorship and just share these videos with other people so they know exactly what is happening. I left a link in the description to my Ko-fi account where you can do a one-time donation or a monthly subscription. Anything helps, and your support is greatly appreciated. Thank you once again.